this is Dana, and on this channel I speak about spiritual, Gnostic spirituality. I'm gonna pick up in this video, which I also will try to keep it short, a little bit of the learnings and wisdom that I was guided to take in during the latest spiritual journey. I'm gonna pick up from where I left in the previous video, where I was saying that there are some individuals who created this 3D, but they were very just a few of them who actually do this consciously on purpose. The mass majority of people are being manipulated and used in different ways. One way, which I mentioned in the last video, is basically where they create trauma and bondages and darkness on you in order to lose your soul at a very young age. Why? Because if you lose your soul at a young age, then they get to trap your spirit and use it, own it and use it and manipulate it. And this basically gives them power. They own large number of spirits, and then they use that. Literally, what this means, it means spiritual death. So when you lose your soul, that's a spiritual death. Literally, God refers to individuals who are pretty much alive. We see them next to us, but they lost their soul. God refers to them as dead people. They are dead because they don't have a soul. The soul goes back to God. Nobody can take the soul. Yeah, God can send to you the soul back so you can heal. But if you don't heal, the same darkness is attached to your physical body, and the same attacks basically generate death again. And I have seen this in my spiritual work with God of bondage breaking, where God has sent a soul to an individual and they lost the soul very shortly because of poor decision making, because they are being manipulated and used and owned by these creeps who created the 3D. Now, what happens when you are in this situation of spiritual death? They send more darkness to you, and I explained to you there are people who are trained to do this, to basically transform a spirit without soul, of course, into a poltergeist by putting more darkness, more pain, more heartbreak, more taking them through all that we know in 3D to be wrong things: addictions, disease, betrayals, injustice. So they create more and more and more and more darkness on them until they reach the poltergeist level, which is very evil. That means the spirit initially encountered death at an early age, which means it's on soul level, because it happened without the individual being a mature individual. Yeah, that means it's also easier to manipulate because it's young spirits, like God calls them. So literally, God shows them to me when I do spiritual work with God of bondage breaking. God shows them to me and they look like little children playing. Oh, you did this to me, I will just take revenge now, and I will do this to you, and I will do that to you. And literally they look like children, like small children, kindergarten type, and they don't have discernment. They don't stay and judge a situation and try to find a solution. They just react instantly at the smallest input they get on energy level. And unfortunately, the input they get is of darkness, because they have been brought into this situation, so they would be owned and used against others. Now, these individuals who do this, they own large number of spirits. They literally torture them to transform them into poltergeists for this reason. First of all, because if they succeeded to achieve a poltergeist level on a young soul that is a soul level spirit, which means pure energy. They harvest pure energy. They only feed on pure energy. Yeah. So they get to do more harm onto others. On the other hand, they do this on individuals with very high divine rights. In order to steal those divine rights. Divine rights, as I have been saying, means divine rights to money, to status, to upranking, to all that we all seek to have good fortune in life. Yeah, so they are sent here with a high purpose to help the humanity, the humankind into ascension. And of course, these individuals don't want them to achieve their purpose. And on the other hand, because they have a high purpose, they have very high divine rights at fortune and generational wealth. And if they trap and own these spirits, they get to steal those divine rights. Yeah. Because that individual doesn't have communication with the divine. You remember from the last video, yeah? So if he doesn't have communication with the divine, he doesn't know what purpose it has, he doesn't know what rights it has, so he's gonna be happy with some breadcrumbing of... and I've seen this in the bondage breaking I have done with God on other people, where an individual was, for example, had divine rights to be a king. And he was transformed in the poltergeist at a very young age in order to steal those divine rights. And they gave him a promotion like, I will make you head of department in one of my institutions. And this is a huge promotion for you. And because he didn't have communication with the divine, he didn't know that he was supposed to be the king of the country. Not some stupid bureaucrat in some stupid office in that creep individual subordinate. So this is breadcrumbing. So they steal your rights and they give you some breadcrumbing. Like, for example, you have divine rights for generational wealth, for billions, and they give you, I don't know, a few thousands of euro, and they say, okay, this is reward because you did this and this that I ordered. So this is what basically comes down to. Yeah. Now, what happens is the following. If you get to this point as poltergeist, spiritual death, even if you don't get to poltergeist, but spiritual death, you are being manipulated and being used into more darkness and into doing more darkness. Or even if you personally don't do it on purpose to be a dark individual, they will put on you addictions, which also brings darkness, and it takes away your personal power, but they will do harm in your name. So they will put you in position of leadership of some sort of organization, and they will do harm through that organization. So you take on the karma and all the guilt for what is going on. Yeah. So one way or another, they will put more and more darkness on you. By doing that, your physical vessel, your body, literally, gradually deteriorates and gets, at some point, will cease to exist by death. And this is what God wanted me to reach in this video. God told me, talk about death. And this is, I made this introduction for the following reason. Because what I learned in this spiritual journey, and even before that, when I started the spiritual journey, is that death doesn't exist. Death is something created by them. And because this is such a difficult to grasp concept, this is why I made this introduction, so you will understand that this is how it gets to the point where they create death by sending darkness. How is death created? The process goes through what I just explained so far through this introduction. until it gets you to a certain point of physical body disease, weakness, not standing in your power, and it usually they focus a lot on creating heartbreak, lack of hope, um, depression, basically, what we name depression in our world, and lack of motivation to fight, lack of standing of will power to stand up for yourself and fight. Somehow, even the way everybody and the church is preaching about God is part of this. Like God is, you meet God after death. So they make you think that death is normal. They make you think that, this, the common say, you only live once, so then you should make the most of it. But that's not true. God has shown to me, it's not that you only live once. If you allow them to do this harm to you, you keep reincarnating into what is called the karmic life, which means a soulless life. So you literally are a poltergeist, become a poltergeist because of their manipulation, and you just reincarnate through darkness rituals. But you don't have the capacity to hold the soul. Yeah, and because the soul is the connection to God, and you don't have the capacity to communicate with God and with the divine realm. How they create death, I will give you examples. When they brought you to a point of physical disease, weakness, and lack of hope, lack of willpower to stand up, and lack of faith in yourself and in the power you have, or you can gain back if you don't have it, they will literally do a number of energy attacks on you. Levitation, telepathy, voodoo practices, sympathetic magic, voodoo practices of transferring certain mind states on you, in which literally there's a levitation, like a voice, a hypnosis, yeah, levitation going on constantly 24 hours a day, day and night, on your subconscious, saying and describing images of you dead. They can do this also through other people. The crowd attack, the third party attack, where they talk to others, they do levitation on others, on seeing you dead. And they describe the images, like this, I don't know, Maria, yeah, this individual, Maria, to make it easier. Maria looks in putrefaction, the skin is breaking apart, there is no blood, there is just putrefaction, the hair is going in putrefaction, and they describe each and every phase of the deterioration of the body that can be possibly created. And through the power of mind, as they inflict these images onto so many other people, they do gang stalking with that on you. And once you embrace that, then literally you manifest your own death, physical death. This is how death happens. Even, for example, because I have done bondage breaking for some individuals who died from my own blood lineage, or at least adopted family, and they, as I said in the previous video, they were held hostage as poltergeist spirit to be used against me and others, and because they wanted to steal from them a leadership position. And God showed me that individual, who was very dear to me, and he actually put the foundation of who I am today as an individual, saw the death. And even the people who were around him at the time, I was a child, but the people were talking that he was saying, I see this black woman in black who comes to me, And that's a death curse. And I've seen this in my own spiritual journey, in the first spiritual journey. I have seen the same woman. And that God has shown to me then, this is a curse, a death curse, which they create on you. The distinction between me and my spiritual journey was that I casted that woman away. I stood up and I said, I send this back to who sent it, by the power of God. He, on the other hand, didn't fight back because mentally he didn't believe in his power to reject that woman. But he was telling the people around him, he was sick, and he was telling the people around him, I see this woman, please tell her to go away. And nobody told the woman to go away, nobody did spiritual fighting for him. And quite the contrary, they actually took on that image and turned it against him, which didn't help him. But God has shown to me, if he wouldn't have believed that harm can be done on him, and he would have just fought for himself in that phase, but it's not a blame, it's just an explanation, because I was seeking to understand how could he die. And God explained to me, you see, this situation, he needed to stand up and fight. He just needed to fight. He just needed to believe. But they succeeded in making him believe that this needs to come from somebody else, that somebody needs to help him. So he felt powerless. He didn't fight for himself. He would have still survived at that point. Even with the disease they inflicted on him, he would have still survived if he would have fought. So basically, the message is that death does not exist. It's something created with darkness. God created the human to go through all dimensions in the same physical body, with the same soul, with the same spirit, but doing healing on themselves, spiritual fighting, bondage breaking, in order to advance through all dimensions from 3D to 4D into 5D, and to stay there. Now, because they use this crowd attack, which I explained previously what it means the type of attack which we see in the movies about Jesus, where the crowd was demanding his death and was hitting him, and that's a crowd attack. That means basically levitation and energy manipulation of a large number of people. Gang stalking, that's gang stalking. Literally, that is gang stalking. And they can do it like you see in the movies about Jesus up front with confrontational attack, or they can do it even if you don't have people around you demanding your death. They are in their own homes and they are being used mentally. They are being manipulated to hate you, to slander you, to wish death or ill on you. And what is very sad is that this gang stalking can be done even without the conscious understanding of the individual who are being used. Like, for example, of dream state. They can do gang stalking. For example, if you live in a city, in a block, they can do a crowd attack through everybody in your block while they were asleep. And technology is being used for this. And actually, people that have a military background can confirm this, that there exists technology, psychotronic weapons, which can do exactly this. Can be positioned in front of your block, and they can manipulate the mind of all people in that block to throughout the night to attack you through them, wishing ill on you, or just simply dreaming of you dying, or dreaming of you being raped, or being tortured, or being whatever. Or being, for example, addictions can be created this way. One of these weapons put in front of your block, and everybody being manipulated for a crowd attack against you to transform you, for example, into drug addict, or into, if they do this for a long time, that's an energy which you, if you don't fight, you don't heal it, you don't claim justice, that means large number of people sending that darkness to you, to your house, to you. And if you don't fight, then they will succeed to actually create that into material existence on you. It is that simple. It is that simple, unfortunately, at this point in time. This is why, for example, one of my goals is to actually have legislation issued in all states against this type of energy manipulation and energy attack. Because literally there's a lot of crime and harm doing going on, not only manipulation. This is for elections. This can be a manipulation done for elections. You will wake up all of a sudden choosing a certain option. If you don't do critical thinking and you don't, you're not a spiritual person in terms of checking your energy, trying to communicate with the divine, trying to communicate with your higher self, trying to heal yourself, to integrate, and so on and so forth. Yeah? So this manipulation can be done for any purpose, for any goal they establish. Literally. And not only that can be done, it is being done and has been done for a long time. There's been, for those interested in politics and international relations, I can tell you that in my research, investigations, I discovered that regime change in many countries happened this way. Specific leaders, political leaders, were put in leadership position this way. And the mentality of consumer behavior has been created this way in order to create huge fortunes for them, and so on and so forth. So much of our reality in 3D now is created this way, unfortunately. Yeah. And even more unfortunate is that the church knows it. All the leaders of the church, they know exactly how this is being done. And they don't tell the people because they are part of the matrix, and they are in certain agreements with them, and not to mention that the necromancy is being done through them. Actually, God has shown to me, this is why the practice of having cemeteries in the cities was developed, in order to do necromancy on people. And again, I say what I said in the last video, that the practice of bringing the church at the burial, the fact that you bury the body, all of this is part of the same necromancy practice. And they literally work with the churches and the cemeteries in doing necromancy. This is something that was confirmed to me by a priest. In 2018, when I started the spiritual fighting, I was still going to church for thinking in my mind at the time that they would help, and the priest confirmed to me. I asked him, is it true? Because I received divine guidance not to give the name of my dead family members, because there are priests in the church using it to do necromancy. Is it true? Because I was doing that as everybody else. Yeah. And the priest confirmed it, yes. And he said to me, don't worry, God will punish them. What the fuck do you mean God will punish them? I'm not going to give the name. You should be telling people not to do that. Because it's not normal. We come to you thinking that it will be helpful for our dead ones. And we learn that instead we are keeping them trapped by these practices. We are helping these crypts to keep our own beloved ones trapped into 4D. Yeah, so that's when I started learning about this. Anyhow, the message that God wanted me to convey in this video is about death. So a lot of, there's a huge number of practices related to this. And literally the message is that this is a creation, a human creation. You're not meant to die. You're not meant to die. You are meant to go through, this is the ascension, going through all the dimensions, but you are meant to go through it by healing yourself, by doing bondage breaking, by cleaning your life, yeah, and cutting all of these sources of attack. And I mentioned the van life, and I explained there that it's particularly in order to cut off certain number of energy attacks which come, and bondages which come through housing, and it comes through utilities, through neighborhood gangs, which are created by the matrix, which unbeknownst to you make claims on you because you live in their neighborhood, and they say, I'm the spiritual leader of the neighborhood. This was confirmed to me by this. Actually, I learned this for the first time from that priest. He told me. For the first time, I was in shock. I couldn't believe it. And they said there is always a leader in the each region, which basically commands all of these darkness attacks and stuff like this and so on. So because he was trying to explain to me how the surprise attack was created against me, because he was telling me these people have no power, you are much above them, don't you worry. And he was explaining to me this. That was the first time when I learned about it. Then I started asking guidance, because one of the problems we have is that we don't know what guidance to ask, what questions to ask God, because we don't know what they are doing. So when that priest told me about these neighborhood gangs, that's when I started asking guidance about it, and God confirmed to me, and he started showing this and this and this and this and this, you know. So you are meant, once again, to go through all the dimensions by breaking off from all of these sources of darkness creation, and sending darkness upon you, sending attacks upon you, to heal yourself and to do bondage breaking, and to go through all dimensions in the same body, with the same spirit, with the same soul, integrating and healing yourself. Now, if you can't, because there's too much attacks, God will work with you, will send you back your soul, but you have to do the healing, so the physical vessel, and you have to do the redemption. And sometimes we keep call it redemption, and people are resentful of it, but you have to do good deeds in order to get divine grace, because many times many things were done in your name, not by you, but in your name. And you still carry that darkness. It just, you know, at this point, it doesn't really matter whether you're guilty or not. The point is you're carrying the darkness. Or you have the addictions which resulted from that, you know. So I think everybody needs to grow up and be mature enough to understand, okay, the point is we need to ascend, we need to heal. So if you need to do a good deed, call it redemption or not, if you're guilty or you're not, it doesn't really matter at an initial stage. What matters is that you heal. So you need to do a good deed in order to heal. Of course, when you get to breaking that bondage, you will learn from God to what degree were you guilty or not, or what could you have done differently in order to have a better situation, a better ascension, and so on. Now I'm gonna stop because it's 29 minutes and I want this to upload. I'm just gonna stop here and I'm gonna upload the video. The message briefly is this, that death doesn't exist. As I said, they create this on you, literally by creating in your mind the images associated with the physical dead. Even the fact that you think that it's normal to die, that contributes to this. And they are using everybody around you to create that by putting the same images in their mind, thinking that it's normal to die. Now she will die because she did this, or he will die because he did this. or oh, look how pale she looks. God showed me even this, that many people, for example, especially around sick or old people, they go and say, oh, she seems weak, she seems pale, she seems this, she seems that, she has dark circles under the eye, she has this, and surely she will die. And just by holding that thought, and repeating that by levitation on your subconscious, you can become part of the individuals being used to create death upon somebody else. Yeah. So literally, I know this is a very controversial topic. For me, it was a huge shock when I learned this, that death doesn't exist. I will talk in another video how you deal with that and how you heal all of this. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna stop this video now, and I invite everyone to ask guidance from God to confirm all of this, because I know it's a very unexpected news for many people.